We have a couple of questions, and I think I they're from Maureen Flora. Thanks, Maureen. As I often say, we can always use more questions. That's it gives me an idea. When you're thinking about questions, you might feel that questions are silly or not advanced enough or all kinds of stuff like that. No, it's
Did you turn on the mic?
the questions that come from you are related directly to how often many people think, and it's just the way it is. So don't think that your questions are. Marlene, do you want to come in?
I'm sorry, I don't hear you.
You don't hear me?
But the mic looks like it's on.
I'm not sure if you're hearing me, anybody. I could say, call me if you're not hearing me. That might be something that might be helpful. Let's say, call me. Maybe any people in Ottawa that happen to be here.
No, text me.
Or text me.
No, text me.
Text Marlene. If you are hearing, and we'll see if we get any texts in the next couple of minutes. I'll just put a hold on this for a few minutes. Oh, we're not getting any texts. I wonder if
No, I think it's gonna be okay.
it's okay.
I think so. I'm not sure.
Sorry, we won't be long. The volume seems to be moving as I speak on the computer anyway. Mind you,
Okay, we're good.
Okay, we're good. Okay, all right. So, yes, don't be nervous about the questions you ask. There's always folks that might be, what could I say,
Hello?
able to.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay, somebody called. That's great. Okay, at least you can hear me. That's great stuff. Okay, but questions are really important when you try to talk to yourself in relationship to questions, wondering about what might be not interesting to others, but interesting to you, then I would suggest that you're trying to figure out things about how you're growing, and if you do that, you're going to come up against reflex reactions that happen to live within you. And that might be in itself an exercise that might be important. So, even if I never get to see them. But it is about you asking questions of yourself. It's fascinating. So here are some that are from Marine Flora in the Columbus area. Sorry, Maureen. And she says, I'm not sure how to phrase this question. I'm thinking about jumping the gap, and that's that piece that I have on the board that I had a couple of weeks ago about moving from any one point, slowly engaging, let's say, a little bit more rapidly past where you are now, in spite of what that feels like or seems to be like. Let me finish the question. I'm thinking about jumping the gap rather than traveling the long loop, time, distance of spiritual development. We all travel that. long road. I think the dilemma is an understanding of how that might work. And, for example, awareness itself, becoming consciously aware of energy, period, even if it's your own personality, intensity that you're aware of. That is a big jump beyond what you were able to do before. Even if you thought you were able to do something, gollies, the jumps are still there. You grow from where you are. And it's not about, there's no competition in this thing at all. Try and get that as a part of your understanding. This is really hard in our world because everything is competitive. People vie for being important about what they think about how the sewers run in the city, for heaven's sake. I mean, and they don't even know, but they believe they know, so therefore they're more important than somebody else who doesn't know. All that stuff is just, in a kind of a way, helps you to validate yourself because you're vulnerable as a person. It's okay. It's allowed, but understanding what it is might be a little bit helpful to all of us because we all engage in stuff like that sometimes. So, looking at it from that point of view, would one feel more pressure in the physical, emotional, and mental structure of the personality? Well, we know that already that occurs. The personality doesn't like to be under pressure. It likes to figure stuff out for itself. But it's got a kind of band around it that helps it to be secure. And that band is a personalized version of what has to be true, otherwise somehow they're not really an able personality. And it goes in so many different directions. Each of us have a little piece of that somewhere along the line. And maybe a lot of pieces of that. So when you're looking at it from that point of view, becoming conscious of something, even ourselves, puts pressure on the personality to make adjustments, or it begins to cultivate a need to be more valuable because it can do that, or less valuable because somebody else is doing something from our point of view a little bit more than we are. And in fact, that is the personality construct itself. It's symbolic. And we lean on symbols like crazy. Our language is all symbolic. We have an alphabet. We put them together in certain ways so that we are more credible if we are able to do something this way more ably than somebody else. This is just a different rule set. So, if somebody doesn't understand one rule set, might understand a little bit about another rule set, then one rule set can be more important than another rule set. It's very fascinating how we do these things. And somehow the personality style believes in itself because it's trained to do so, or trained to see that particular personalized style as more important than some other style. It's very interesting, but not real. However, we also have socialized, rule-based engagements with how individuals function versus others. We've been trained to compete with each other, even in school, for heaven's sake. because that gives us a value. And parental backgrounds often say, this is the way you need to act to be valued according to our small tribe. And this is an uncomfortable thing to talk about, but nonetheless, it's somehow the way we tend to activate a way of functioning here on these planes. Well, if you attempt to shift or change that, there's definitely pressure emotionally, because our reflexive responses defend naturally how we have been acting, or expressing ourselves, or constructing a particular way of being, so that particular way of being is more important than other people's way of being. It's really not. Sorry. But it is a way of training that we are aligned with. And we haven't really tried to figure it out very well. So we end up pitting one process versus another process, instead of wondering how different processes can be helpful in the process of growth. Generalization, but nonetheless real. This is very uncomfortable in our engagement with spiritual growth, because, as Maureen is pointing out, in a kind of a way, when we're dealing with being how we are, since it is imperfect, from most of us, our points of view, many, then we tend to judge a little bit. So, if you can pull away from that construct of judgment just a little bit and move towards wondering more about how we get there, and maybe we're not completely in that same scenario anymore, then maybe we can move a little past that. It is natural for the emotional disposition to protect against change. It's natural to physically build a constructed stylistic system and then engage with it and maintain it, because it's helped you to attempt to understand how you are, and then protect that how you are as much as you can. In fact, we, as children, we attempt to adjust to some degree. We constantly make adjustments in what we do, at least theoretically, so that we can either emulate our parental background, or come up with an idea that relates to it. And then, unknown to us, we become it. Because if we do that, then we would be loved by our parental background. In fact, that may not even be close to truth. Any kind of personalized truth. If you are like you have been trained, you absolutely will not necessarily be liked by your parental background. Think about that for a minute. You're in competition with them to do them better than they can do them. Why would anybody think that that would be a positive thing? Certainly in the eyes of the parent, that wouldn't be too positive. You would be considering just copying them and making fun of them when you're really not trying to do that. You're trying to fit into the tribal construct that you're used to being involved with. That is not a negative thing. That's a natural internal reflex. You want to be loved by that which you have been before. Woo, here comes adulthood. Now you're an adult. Now you really truly emulate that background, whatever it is, relative to you and how you've constructed in your mind and emotions how that should be, how you see them. And you are blind to noticing that you act that way. Because if you were to see you acting that way, you would be not happy with how you're functioning. So slowly you pick a person or two, often those who you care for and care for you, and you act that out. Not to be mean to that person, but to emulate somehow the love form that was constructed in you by you interacting the way another person has interacted with life. And considered, that person would be considered the head of the tribal form. It can be either male or female, it doesn't matter at all. Because that doesn't have anything to do with being right or wrong, good or bad. It has only to do with the reflex that relates to loving. Add another ingredient that you considered that love should be that way. And you end up not being very loving. Because you don't know if that's not loving, and besides, you're blind to it. You can't see it. This is what all of us do in our lives. And this is, you could say, shocking. And you could say, baloney. That can't be true. It can't be me because I'm this and I'm that. You may be missing something, but it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It means you're missing something. In getting to understand just a tiny bit and being okay with not necessarily only being that way, it's the only thing you can do. Because you've already constructed a system that you are protecting. What you do is slowly shift time a bit in relationship to your growth. So that there's a movement towards in you without your perceiving it, to engage with a different state rather than the state that you've emulated, even though it's still there and functioning and being protected and being held in a particular, almost physical state related to the overall personality stylistic process or system that you hold dear to you without knowing what it is. So you think that's complicated enough? You end up, if you try to change that, you feel as if you don't understand what's going on. Something's off. So you hold on to that state more as you're growing. Because if you really are growing, you have to protect more and you have to act it out more. This happens to everybody. If there's anything that's consistent, that's consistent. That's why slow growth is and has been in our human world so tenuous. That's why we lean on things we've acquired. The ability to be a tiny bit clairvoyant, whatever that is. Kind of a mystical background to be. And these exist on these physical, emotional, mental, stylistic levels, so that we will be comforted by some small little movement which feels like it's huge. None of our attempts to grow are negative. We have to see them in a kind of checks and balance way that enables us to feel comforted internally without moving too quickly. But an awareness of this is a big movement. Then you have to cultivate an understanding and a level of compassion for yourself and others around you that you have designated should become a part of the tribal engagement that you have engaged with and learned from to be a human being in the humanity of this particular planet. This sounds so strange sometimes, but not negative. We're learning. And this idea of, remember, many talk about this. It's not only a Christian thing, but unless you become open and willing to going beyond where you are this second, you cannot let that higher state operate in a tiny little bit in you. You can only let your personality state operate strongly in you. Everything has to be the language of that intense engagement level, because it fits. You're still in control of it to some degree, while not being in control of it at all, because it reflexively is engaged with you, and you can't see it very well. This is tough to move beyond that omega sign here. But please remember, one tiny little step into it, and you have moved. So I would say to Maureen, because she's sincere in this, an increase in awareness that you have is a movement which, on the average, people believe might occur in maybe 500 or 600 years from now in the average person on our planet. Don't think it's extra special. Think you're just kind of a semi-forerunner. Hopefully, we can move in that direction more and more, because it does affect other people. You know, the idea of energy operating through you, or you automatically engaging in the world, have energy operating through you that is a part of you. So if you have a change that occurs in you, then it will operate through and be helpful to others. Our will aspect is very strong. Or should I say, our unwilling aspect is pretty strong. It's natural that we protect that which we do not understand yet. Added to that, we protect what we believe we think we understand. And it's not very much. But we make it, careful, we can make it into a big thing. And that will be pretty well how this sociological system works that we are very much a part of. And be compassionate with it, because you contribute to it, as I do, as everyone else does. Our versions, whether they be known or not known. So in that, understand that you are growing as you become slightly more aware. And as you notice a curiosity within you. And also, this is one difficulty that can happen in everyone, is that we often think we're not growing fast enough. I hope everybody heard that. We often think we are not growing fast enough. In fact, our system would be screaming louder at everything around us, including us, if we were growing faster. You would have to learn how to soften that down. And it's often been a problem in real spiritual growth, that ideas related to what you think would be spiritual growth are important to recognize as things that you lean on before you can engage with real depth of growing. Keep them. Have them handy. Be okay with you, but know we're all growing. And to be more inclusive with the idea of growing is not so easy for many. Also, a dilemma that we have is that we assess or have a tendency to reach into a view that is about how we have functioned, or others have functioned and we've copied, so that we can assess. I hate the word judgment, but it happens. And judge others as lesser or more. Therefore, you are either lesser or more for doing this. And this is something that we could be helped in a way. We could help ourselves soften this down. It's not going to go away, but we could soften it down and realize that that is what we're doing for the purpose of being valued. This is part of your training. And this happens in every background, since everyone is trained in a very similar way. So when you see it, talk to yourself and say, ouch, that's part of my training. I think I need a little help with that, but not in this case, because I'm right in this case. Use your sense of humor. It will be helpful to you in allowing you to move forward, to gain access to an understanding that's deeper than what we are trained to allow. I wish that was the end of that first question, but here we go. Or does this kind of jump simply happen when one has developed to that point, so there is not a sense of struggle with the personality? It's a good question. Often it will be resolved by how an individual thinks things are going within them. And that sounds a little bit, uncomfortable. But try to recall that if things align with you, You're much happier than when things don't align with you. It's the nature of how we've trained this personality system as an adult to function and to be comfortable as a personality. But it's not always exactly true the way we think it is. So many people come at things from a very, very different perspective. Their religious and philosophical backgrounds are exactly, all kinds of backgrounds are the same way. Art is the same way. It's amazing. Science can be the same way. Science could be a little bit different from time to time because it's good to come up with a theory and then see if it makes any sense. And it may make sense 3 out of 10 times, but 7 out of 10 it doesn't make sense. So there has to be another theory that is more enabling. Or if you're looking at a timeline, sometimes a theory will be prominent and considered universal. And later on, when more tools are available so that we can understand things a little bit better, and in this case, more awareness is available, not only considered by your personality to be aware, but reality-based stuff. And this is really hard for us because it's one thing versus another. That means we're debating now. And that's less real. But not a negative thing sometimes. Because you can, if you're looking for an answer beyond what you have, then that debate is good. If you're looking for only having one answer, it's a little harder because you're not interested in finding an answer that's beyond what you have. You know, we do this all the time. This is a day-to-day thing that we have. And it's fascinating, don't you think? To actually wonder about that stuff in a kind of a way that might be helpful to any and each individual for a period of time until they come up with something that might be a little bit more intriguing, but not necessarily considered right or wrong, or the best and only, that kind of thing. It's the one thing about an engagement with spiritual growth. There are so many frequencies that come at things, come at a source from all different kinds of angles. This is hard for us. As personalities, we can make up our minds about, as I've talked about before, even frequencies. One frequency is better than another. These other ones are not as good as this one is. This kind of thing. And we don't have any time for understanding. There's a coarser level, a less coarse level, less coarse, really able level, really able, really, really subtle and wondrous and tremendously engaged with higher states in every frequency. Don't care what the frequency is. Well, that's not an accepted view in many people's mind. Because we don't know how true that could be. Our reality-based experiential background is based on constructed belief systems, which, honestly, if we were honest, we would like to say, that's interesting. I wonder where that goes. We even have this relationship with finding out if there is a subtle energy that is something way beyond the tooling system that we have. It is believed that there may be, and that's a scientific response. It is also believed that we can also define it. It's not such a scientific definition, but we've already tried to define what that might be. Could there be anything beyond that? Oh no. Why? Because our tooling tells us that. Hey, you're really saying you don't have the wherewithal to figure out whether that might be true or not. And up till the time that you do, it's not true. It's not very scientific. And also, at the same time, if you look at it from a philosophical or religious background, it's not very scientific or not even real. You just choose words to be helpful with so we can try to understand each other. And then it's reoriented and considered the right belief against other beliefs. We can learn from that. Maybe other beliefs have some angles that might be helpful in our belief. I don't know who I'm talking to here. Or a belief, maybe something that might have some truth in it, but maybe not exactly the way we understand it. Would that be okay? Many say no. Some say, I don't know. And as long as you are okay with being open to something beyond what you think has to be true, then you have an option to understanding something but beyond what you think has to be true from your perspective. We do the same thing in small places. And this is such a good question. Will it affect the personality? Will actual growing affect the personality? What if you see you from a different perspective than what you believe you have to be like to be considered valuable by you? Interesting question. Not an easy one to be a part of. I'm trying to be kind and gentle and respectful of those things that we're held in, or compassionate or loving, which words you want to use, as you find out that they were not perfect ways to be, and they got us by the throat. And we react that way before we even know that we did. And then we have to try and protect our activity, because otherwise people will think we're terrible. So we defend that to the best of our ability, using the same considerable tactics or engagements that we have been trained to have. Phew. How about if you look at it like this? Do what you can. Soften it all down. Grow as slowly or as quickly as you can allow yourself. But remember, the more energy that you engage as a personality, the more you have the option of being the only person who's growing, or recognizing that you're not, because now you begin to notice other people are growing, and they are as worthy as you. They are growing through them in their internal frequencies. You're growing through yours in yours. So negation starts to play less a role. If only. And I would like to believe that that can actually happen, at least to some degree. And that is a jump in another 500 or 600 years, if we're lucky. Maybe. Okay, that's the part of the struggle that I was trying to answer. Engagement with the struggle. What was it? I remember somebody telling me one time, real inner growth is a struggle. And I said, why? And they said, well, I want it desperately. And it should happen without me changing. I said, okay, let me think about that. That makes sense to everybody on our planet. Because we already have a version of what we think we are. But how about you look at it this way? If you do grow, you're going to be 2 or 3 times the same as you are now, unless you allow yourself not to be. Because you're going to miss it if you love the way you were. Shocking. That person looked at me and said, "Good God, I never thought about it that way." But many have. And many have understood the dilemmas of how we engage with life and how difficult movement internally is and how easy it is to engage with it emotionally, mentally, on the surface, in an evaluation of how able you are or unable you are, because that comes in too. So did I get an A? Did I get a B? Did I get a C? Did I get a D? Ugh. Did I fail? There you go. There's our organizational construct. Okay. So, what if you did get a D? What's that mean? A D. It's not even a C. You got a D, but you changed. You learned something. Be aware of that something that you've learned. It will stick with you. It will not diminish. You can judge it in a diminishing way. But I remember somebody telling me one time, I failed my class. I started laughing. He said, "What are you laughing about?" I said, "How long did you go to class?" "Well, a whole year." "Was the course difficult for you?" "Yeah, it was difficult." "Do you remember anything about it?" "Actually, I studied, but I couldn't, when I was examined, understand how to put things together very well." "Did you learn anything?" I said. "I learned quite a bit." "You didn't fail." "Oh yeah, they give you whatever." You did not fail. You are not the same as you were the first day you got into that class. How can you say that? I said, "I just said it. Happens to be true." You probably know more about that subject than I do because I never took that class. So when someone starts talking to you about that particular area that you studied, but you didn't do very well in the exam, you will understand more than they will, and you may be able to help them out. And that person went on to get a PhD, I think, in something else. But they had put themselves in a hole, not understanding that they had learned quite a lot, more than they knew before. The tragedy would have been if they had learned nothing about them and just beat themselves up instead of continuing. That would have been the tragedy. But they would have been involved with something else. It's our nature to do so. And they would have been fine. They would have lived life engaged with it, and tried to be happy. I think sometimes we miss that boat. We put too much attention on how important we are or how less important we are. That devaluation may not be as real as what you believe. Remember, many of the very able beings who have existed in this world were not well educated in the way of the world. They became more educated in relationship to the experience of a higher state. And that was pretty special. I think we're getting a little close to, I'm not sure. Let me see if I can look at this second question. Excuse me for a minute. I think I'll save this question for another time. I think we've talked about some of it, but I think it'd be a good question. It's a little bit longer, I think. So check your awareness gently. Realize that our propensities to assess how we function are most times involved with how we have been trained in our past. And that is a versioning of being willing to allow a second thought and recognize the value of not necessarily being harsh or overly emphasizing the relationship that you might think that you have internally. Try to get into the middle ground if you can. It might be truly helpful. And one thing it really is helpful. It helps you to begin to allow yourself to be more patient with other people. If you can become a little more patient inside yourself or less adamant about the value that you have attained personally. That has nothing to do with getting a mark. It has everything to do with understanding others to the best of your ability. The dilemma is it's harder for us to understand ourselves than it is to understand others. At least a version of what we think others are like. What you're trying to do is understand the energetic component that is flowing inside another that is related directly to loving. How they engage with their personalizations is related directly to how they were trained to love in a scenario. In other words, trust is really hard for all of us. Think about that. If you can soften that down just a little bit, you will find out how difficult trust is. You heard me right. If you can soften it down a little bit, you will find out it will bring awareness to the difficulty that this world has in trusting others. I think we're going to meditate now. It's about 10:02, I think, something like that. Yep. So we're going to meditate for about 50 minutes to an hour. And I wish everybody well. And It was nice to see those who were able to come to the seminar. Nice to see everybody. So please take care, and Marlene is organizing the music. Good evening. And I'll get you to do the balancing and grounding at the end.
शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके देवी नारायणी नमोऽस्तु शृङ्गारमध्यमाये नमो नमः दिव्यभूषणसन्दोहरञ्जिताये नमो नमः Gamanaye Namo Namaha. Om Vandaru Jalasandoha Vanditaye Namo Namaha. सृष्टिस्थितितिरोधानसङ्कल्पायै नमो नमः श्रीषोडशाक्षरी मन्त्रमध्यमायै नमो नमः दिव्यमूर्त्यै नमो नमः भक्तहंसपरिमुख्यवियोगायै नमो नमः मातृमण्डलसंयुक्तललितायै नमो नमः नन्ददैत्यमहासत्त्वनाशनायै नमो नमः क्रूरभण्डशिरश्चेदनिपुणायै नमो नमः सुराधीशसुखदायै नमो नमः चण्डमुण्डनिशुम्भादिखण्डनायै नमो नमः शिक्षणायै नमो नमः महिषासुरदुर्वीर्यनिग्रहायै नमो नमः अप्रकेशमहोत्साहकारणायै नमो नमः अप्रकेशमहोत्साहकारणायै नमो नमः महेशयो
And now we'll just begin to do the bouncing and grounding on your own. And have a good evening, everybody. Good night.